Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 77th Emerging Growth Conference and day 2 of our 2-day virtual investor conference. I'm Anna Berry. Just a few notes. Today we're running until about 5 p.m. Eastern. And when we switch to the next company, you'll see a black screen for a moment. Don't go anywhere. That's just us moving over to the next presenter. But of course, if you experience downtime, refresh your browser. Our platform does work best on Google Chrome. So if you're watching from an Apple device, you have to hit the play button to start the session. Now, all of our conferences, they're uploaded to the Emerging Growth Conference YouTube channel. Please subscribe, youtube.com/Emerging Growth Conference. Now, during each company's presentation today, you can submit questions through the webcast module, and the presenters will attempt to address as many of these at the end of their presentation. And one last note, after today's event, you'll be redirected to the registration page for our next conference. So stay on or come back to reserve your spot early. Let us begin. Today, UCAR Limited. It's a new generation battery swapping ecosystem provider listed on the NASDAQ under the ticker UCAR since April of 2023. Happy to welcome Françoise Micou, UCAR Strategic Advisor. Françoise has 25 years of CEO and board member experience in financial services throughout the US, Europe, and Asia, along with Paul Lee, the UCAR Investor Relations. Welcome, gentlemen. Happy to have you on the conference today.
Thank you very much, Anna, and a pleasure to be with you today. So good morning to those of you who are in America, and good afternoon to those who are in Europe. My name is François Micou, and today I'm speaking to you in my capacity of strategic advisor of UCAR. UCAR is a new generation battery swapping ecosystem designed primarily for commercial and industrial vehicles, electric vehicles. So let me explain to you briefly why we are here and what problem do we solve. The current charging model for electric vehicles does not support the expanding market that we can see for EV vehicles. Does not. Very quickly, the new market vehicle will reach 30 million vehicles sold every year. That will be in 2030. But and we can see from now to then a growth around 20% every year. So we'll see more and more everywhere electric vehicles around. And what are the users thinking about it? Well, they are worried. They're worried about three things mainly. 84% of the buyers of electric cars are saying they are concerned about the battery lifespan and also about the cost of its replacement because those batteries may not last as long as their car. 49% of the buyers are also concerned about the driving range. Is the mileage announced by the manufacturer real? Will my car and my battery remain with the same range capacity as at the beginning after a few years? Those are worries that you can see. And 33% of the buyers are also concerned about the fact that there are a number of charging stations, obviously, but are they close to where I need? Are they available when I need? And those are the things that UCAR, with its new generation battery swapping ecosystem, solves for those who are commercial, who operate commercial or electric vehicles or industrial electric vehicles. So commercial and industrial vehicles. So additionally, we also see that this charging model, the one we have today with charging stations, cannot meet the growing markets that we see of electric vehicles going forward. First of all, when you want to create a new charging station, this is a quite high investment cost. Second, the occupation of the land required for those charging stations is quite wide. Third, you get also a high rate of failure of those charging stations. How many times you go there and, for whatever the reason, the app or something doesn't work and you cannot charge as you wish. And then finally, the fact that high speed, high power charging damages batteries. Yes, it doesn't work so well for the batteries. It's great for you as a user to charge quickly, but the batteries don't like it. So that's the reality we are facing. So, and this is why we created UCAR. which is this new generation battery swapping ecosystem that will now show you in real life. So Ryan, could you please play the video now? Thank you very much, Ryan. I think you've been able to see briefly how this the UCAR battery swapping stations are working. Here in this page, you have the example of a swapping station that is being used for taxis, for example. But the applications of our battery swapping ecosystem are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. First, if you start from the right side of this picture on the harbor, you could actually have battery swapping systems for those machines that are handling containers, for powering ships, for the trucks that are moving around the containers. Obviously, in the logistics world, powering trucks. In public transportation, for powering as well buses or taxi or ride-hailing companies. So those are the kind of applications we target. And there are many applications in order to run our cities much more green and much more zero emission for this kind of solutions. And realize, as you could see on the video, the swapping itself is operations which is automized and happens in between 3 to 5 minutes, which is less time that you need to fill your tank in the station when you go to the gas station with a normal vehicle with carbon emission. So this is really something which will be very useful and is very useful already. So let me run you through quickly the advantages of the UCAR battery swapping ecosystem. First of all, it preserves the battery because it allows optimized charging. There's no longer this fast charging that damages the battery. In the storage, the batteries can be charged quietly and at the optimized level with we use AI system, so with as well a blockchain system to manage all those batteries. Second point is the batteries, as they are in one place, can be recycled much easier at the end of the span life. So that also is another additional benefit, rather than having batteries all over the place in many cars that will be dumped somewhere in the fields. And you can run also the fact that for customers, they are paying for the energy they use, and they don't need to pay for the batteries, which is a big difference, because when you buy a car, the price of a new car, the batteries only represent around between 30 and 40% of the price of the car. So if you can take your initial investment for a vehicle like a truck, a bus, by 20, 30, or 40% down, that's a big advantage for the company that is actually running that business. And then they would pay the energy per usage. And that's how we manage the ecosystem. You can see on the right side, you have the buses, the trucks, the taxis, or the scooters that are being bought by our clients. In the middle, on the top, you have the charging stations. And on the left, you have the battery banks, which is the owners, who are the owners of the batteries, funded by investors. And in the middle, the ecosystem, which is based on selling the energy that goes into those batteries to the users. Here we show you the fact that this is really suited for every kind of industry or commercial usage. On the left side, you see the station for trucks and buses. So there are big batteries. In the middle, the one we saw earlier for taxis and normal cars. And on the right side for scooters and the smaller vehicles, we can have as well the system of batteries that can be switched. For example, for people who bring the food, Uber, Eat, or etc., you can imagine that they use those kind of scooters with batteries that they will be swapping every time they need. So with that, now I will turn it to Paul Lee, our investors relation, to take you through the rest of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Francois, for explaining how our battery swapping ecosystem works and how it effectively solves the financial and infrastructure issues that the EV industry is facing right now. Now I will show you our current global partnerships, which really spans across Asia, Europe, and Latin America. So starting from Asia, our partner in Hong Kong is Cornerstone Technologies, Hong Kong's leading EV charging solutions network. In Thailand, we have partnerships with Pattaya Group, Thailand's leading sustainable logistics solutions company, Susco, extensive food distribution network in Thailand, where we could deploy our EV battery swapping stations, and LightNet, it's a AI and blockchain-powered payment solution network for the financing of our battery banks. Then in Europe, in the Netherlands, we have set up a company called Unex EVBV, which is serving as our European headquarters, managing initiatives in the EU and increasingly beyond. In Spain, we have ongoing negotiations with potential transport sector clients, including Alsa and Cabify. In Portugal, we have alliance with Antro, the biggest taxi corporations there, who will be our partner for deployment of our ecosystem in Lisbon and other major cities. And last but not least, Latin America. In Mexico, we have been in negotiations with major clients like ACM, Milac, and Penolis for solutions ranging from buses, heavy trucks, and pickups. And in Peru, Modasa, a major local bus manufacturer, will be our partner. And in Chile, it's Wallabe, where they will integrate our UCAR battery swapping ecosystem with its mobile ride-hailing platform. Next, I show you the on-site demonstrations of UCAR ecosystem. So on the left, you can see we have been in cooperations with taxi, buses, and logistics companies in the PRC since 2021, successfully launching a series of commercial operations. Below, you can see swapping stations for two-wheelers, taxis, minivans, buses, and lorries. And then according to our business plan, by 2025, we aim to put our battery swapping ecosystem into commercial operations in the aforementioned locations like Portugal, Thailand, Mexico, Hong Kong, and others, where we have ongoing partnerships. So why invest in UCAR? In summary, we are a company that has more than 200 key patent technologies in various fields of our battery swapping ecosystem, including but not limited to battery swapping station structure, battery swapping vehicle chassis, battery pack, docking locking mechanism, IT system, etc. We are also a participating firm in the setting of national battery swapping industry standards, and we are the world's first listed company specializing in battery swapping. Beyond, UCAR also has a highly seasoned leadership team with rich industry experiences and unique expertise. The founder is Johnny Lee, who has a proven track record in the automotive industry, having served at senior management level at leading firms like Hewlett-Packard and Siemens before founding UCAR in late 2014 and listing the company on NASDAQ in 2023. Sitting on our independent director board is Professor Fatten, who is an accomplished diplomat and holds many important academic and business positions. Professor Fatten helped us a lot in setting up connections with businesses interested in our solutions, especially in Europe. We also have Chen Shi as our independent director, who is a professor at Tsinghua University and holds many research and director roles in the EV industry, and he advises us on the latest trends in EV technologies. And our CFO is Rebecca Zhao, who has over 10 years of financial industry experience in M&A and investing with prior managerial positions at Citibank and HSBC. I'm also happy to announce that we have many current investors with significant influence. So on the one hand, we have Mr. Jeremy Dunn, who is a member of the family that is one of the wealthiest in Southeast Asia. He's a major shareholder of ours and also our partner for digital currency platform behind the Battery Bank, as he has experiences in the field, in addition to business opportunities in Thailand specifically. And on the other, we have Andrew Chow, a director at Wolf Holding in Hong Kong and one major investor of ours. He's very experienced in the real estate development industry in Hong Kong and will lead our initiatives in that region. And here you have my contact. You can scan the WhatsApp QR code on the left to text me on WhatsApp for any questions. You can also reach me via email listed here at my company address. And then on the right, you can see our team's photo at Times Square in New York. So that is the end of our presentation. Thanks very much. And please send over any questions if you have to the chat. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen. Great presentation. Let's talk a little bit about your stock price. How do you see where your stock price is today?
Yeah. So I would say currently it is really below its real value, since recently we're really progressing in partner negotiations. So I would say it's a great time to invest as we look forward to a round of fresh and steady growth. And also the market cap is around $22 million as I last checked. So it is a relatively cheap valuation in terms of UCAR's future potential, again, suggesting it is a great time to invest.
And you mentioned this, but talk a little bit more about what specific industries does UCAR Solutions apply to?
Yes. So our clients is really wide-ranging. It includes all types of logistics and transport companies, spanning from passenger transport sectors like taxis and online ride-hailing platforms like Cabify, as I mentioned in Spain, Uber, etc., to delivery companies, public transport, and even industrial sites with heavy machineries involved.
And the topic of tariffs is pretty on point for many people around the world today. So how do you expect the impact of tariffs affecting your company?
Yeah, so we acknowledge the tariff is a current phenomenon, but our business focus is really 4 regions. So Middle East, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and also Europe. So these four regions have we see limited impact of tariffs in these 4 regions. And especially in the first 3 regions, so Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, we see very limited impact. And in the EU, where we might see impact, we emphasize on local assembly, investment, and operations to mitigate the tariffs impact and really fully participate in local economic growth.
And we have a question from a viewer, Abraham, wanting you to clarify what exactly the revenue model is. Do you retain ownership and charge for the service? And is there an ongoing maintenance fee?
Yeah, so basically, I didn't show the financial models here, but then we do have one. We do have the standard financial model, and it's generating around $1 million USD per station per year. And then that is after taxes, maintenance fees, indeed. And we have a charge by usage model. So meaning it depends on, for example, when we swap out the battery, our AI system really look at how much mileage or how much battery by percentage or by mileage the battery has been consumed. And then the pricing model will be based on that. And then in the initial stage, the investment will come through 2 channels. So one, we have set up a battery asset fund where institutional investors can invest. And also on the other, as I mentioned earlier, we have the LightNet partnership with Thailand, with our partnership with Mr. Gerard Vadon, who has a lot of expertise in that area in digital currency platforms. So basically, that platform will be our crowdfunding platform. And then we are also looking for more expanding our presence in the digital currency area. Yeah.
And yeah, thank you. A viewer, Justin, asks if there's anything proprietary. Do you have any patents?
Yes, we do. As I mentioned, we do have around 200 patents, including international ones. And that spans really across the key parts of our ecosystem. As I mentioned, station structure, locking, docking, and also the battery themselves, and also the station. Yeah, so really the key aspects of our ecosystem. We do have patents supporting us here.
And Al asks, is there any competition in the space, and what is your differentiating factor?
So there isn't really, as far as I know, there isn't really other competitors specializing in battery swapping. You do see some other EV firms trying to launch their own battery swapping stations, but then that's mostly to C and only limited to their own models, which will be, my personal opinion will be which will be a limiting factor in the future. So in our area, no real competitor so far.
And last question from Joe is asking a little bit about your growth strategy. What's your plan for that?
Our growth strategy is, I think I have also laid it clear in the presentation. We are actively in talks with our potential partners and actually ongoing negotiations with all our partners in Thailand, Hong Kong, in the EU, in Spain, in Portugal, and in Latin America. So all these, and also in Middle East, as which I forgot to talk in detail in earlier. But we do also have partnerships there. So really, we are having negotiation with them, setting up our local branches, and ready to launch into operations.
And if I may, Anna, to just add on this growth strategy, really what we see is the interest of many industries. I mean, ride-hailing platform are clearly interested. The taxis, very clearly. Public transportation as well, because it's quite easy for a bus driver to go to one of the stations and change and go back to work. So those kind of applications are very obvious, but also industrial, like in a harbor, in a mine, where trucks are running 24 hours a day. That makes a lot of sense to not have those trucks stopped and charging for hours, and have those trucks running over and over again, just changing the drivers. So that's where we see really the value. So those applications, as we said, apply in Middle East, in Southeast Asia, in Latin America, and obviously somehow in Europe. But also we start to have some contacts in Africa, where we can see some interest because of the, I would say, of the decarbonization that is required by most investors today. Turning a mine into a zero carbon industry could be a big changer, a big game changer for the mining industry. And those kind of solutions are quite attractive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. If you have any closing remarks for our viewers, what would you like to leave them with today?
Well, I would like to leave them with the idea that this is UCAR is really the new generation battery swapping ecosystem. And as Paul said, really today we don't have really competition going on. So there's a great opportunity for investors to invest in this company at a reasonable price today. Thank you very much, Anna.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back.